Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed is a spiritual crossing of the threshold to the world of being a truly expanded human being. Hosted by mediums Cheryl Murphy and Kelly Eckhart.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. And just to share with everyone, we're going live on Instagram tonight, along with our YouTube and our Facebook channels. So we have a special guest we want to introduce you to this evening. But at first, I always want to say hello to my colleague, Kelly Eckhart. Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
I'm great, just getting over the flu, but I'm alive.
You're alive and you look great. I mean, I never would have known, Kelly. I mean, stay with us if you can through the program. We're so lucky to have you with us today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're so lucky to have our special guest with us tonight. And her name is Sabrina von Stock. And Sabrina is a wonderful energy healer and psychic medium out of the Los Angeles area. And we thought if you haven't met Sabrina yet, this would be a great time to find out how Sabrina started her venture and how she works either privately or on Zoom with clients. So I want to welcome to the show tonight, Sabrina von Stock. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Cheryl. So nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so
hi,
welcome.
Kelly.
Hi.
You know, Sabrina, you were, for those people, you were with me on my Healing Prayer Circle a few weeks ago. We want to thank you again for that, for sharing your talent and your story about angels. But before we go into angel work with you this evening, we want to ask you how you got started in this business or in mediumship. How did you realize that you were a psychic medium and an energy healer?
Well, that's a great question. And, I always had the gifting since I was a little girl, but I didn't understand it fully. And there was nobody really to explain it to me. I grew up in rural Nebraska and raised Baptist. My mother was taught Bible, and my father was a rancher, and he also, was an organist in the church. And so I was always, I think I was, I've always felt close to God, if you will. And a lot of it was my mother just really bringing me, she'd pray with me every night, and she'd tell me Bible stories. And so I always felt I've always had that spiritual connection. But with that came, I would see things as well and hear things. And I would share it with my mom, like, oh, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. And then she didn't quite understand it, and she was a little put off, but she'd always say, let's keep that to ourselves. So I always felt that part of my personality had to stay hidden. So as I grew up, I kind of always had that sixth sense. So when I was like 9, 10 years old, I started predicting. Like, I remember one time my older cousin was a little, she got around town, and I said, you gotta be careful, you'll get pregnant. And she looked at me really shocked, and sure, the next year,
Is that
she was
right?
a teenage mom, but everybody's like, she was right. But I just, and another thing, I just assume everybody had that ability that they could just know
It's
stuff.
so true. It's so true.
I get
When
that.
we're young, right? We think,
Yeah.
oh, doesn't everybody have this? I mean, this
Right?
is, we don't think we're
Exactly.
anything special or different at that
Not
time
at
in your
all.
life.
Yeah, and I just grew up that everybody kind of operated like that. So I wasn't told anything different. So it wasn't a lot of instruction in, oh, you're this, you have these abilities. And I'm dating myself here. So that was in the 70s in rural Nebraska. And I love Nebraska, but they're a good 20 years behind. So, it just was like, my mother always wanted to protect me because, people would, make comments, or she would have bridge parties, and I would sit in the corner and just observe. I did a lot of observing when I was a child because when I was raised, children were seen and not heard.
Right.
So I always had my mouth closed, my ears open, and I would just observe people. And I think that's kind of the way I started learning about people and mannerisms and and I could also kind of hear their thoughts sometimes, or what they didn't say. So it was just sort of a ground for me to like pick up on energies. So
Right. It sounds like the three of us have a lot in common. Like we were all
Yes.
introverts as children, or we had to we kept to ourselves, or we all observed. I know I did the same, and
I
Kelly,
watched a lot.
did you?
Yes.
we watched a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I could hear everybody's thoughts or knew what they were thinking as well.
Okay.
And it was very
amazing.
loud at times. It felt like, especially at school. You know?
Yes. Yeah, kids are interesting at school. I wasn't the popular girl. I kind of kept to myself too because it was just sort of I always felt different, you know, and I didn't know why. But I always knew my mother always taught me how to be a service to others because that
Mhm.
was the Christian way is to be how do I be a servant to people in need. In a
Mm.
way, it was really lovely. It's by theory, it sounds like a great idea, but after a while, you kind of not lose yourself and just be in service for others, and you don't really like, well, what does Sabrina want? You know, it was more or
Yeah.
less, no, you have to help people.
Mhm.
So I grew up believe, you know, and I still believe that,
Yeah.
but there has to be a healthy balance.
Balance, right.
Yeah,
Healthy
yeah.
balance. So
Yeah.
what brought you into LA, or how did you get to Los Angeles from Nebraska?
Well, we made a little pit stop in Chicago. My parents split up in the 80s. We moved back to Lake Forest, Illinois. My mother's from there. So I grew up outside Chicago in Lake Forest. And again, just lived a pretty quiet life. Went to DePaul University of Barra College, got
Mhm.
a degree in theater and business. But I always had friends that were mystics or they do tarot cards or whatever, and I always thought that was like, oh, that's evil, or oh, I'm scared, like, but I always like, I don't know, I always had this inkling and this interest in it, but I was like, no, that's forbidden.
Right.
So it was funny because I went into acting actually and when I got out of college I started auditioning a lot. I was actually modeling a bit, but I couldn't keep my weight down. It's like short
Yeah.
lived. But I'm like, I'm going to go into acting. And then I started having some success in Chicago, and this was in the 90s. And then I decided to move to LA. I thought I can take this. I've always wanted to move to LA. So
Right.
I moved out in 2002 and pursued acting and not so much theater, but more, you know, TV and commercial work.
Mhm.
And got into SAG, and I met people along the way. But one person in particular that I met was actually in 2013. She's now a dear friend of mine, and she was the one that kind of identified me as like, you're a psychic medium. Don't you know that? And I'm like, well, I know things ahead of time, but I always thought that was for, I don't know. I never thought of myself as that kind of person. I just thought that was for more evolved people. I don't know, you know.
Mhm.
So she says, "I want you to meet somebody," and she took me to a couple of courses in LA, like about spirituality and getting involved in that. And at first, I was all like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" Like I thought I was doing something wrong because
Yeah.
of my upbringing. So,
Right.
but I met some interesting, lovely people that said, no, 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 you have a gifting, you should develop it.
Mhm.
So it was like, maybe I should do this just for me. Like
Mhm.
I never thought of doing this for a living at all. It was never something that I was interested in. I was actually kind of like, I'd be scared to do it. But I just thought for me, that would be really cute, you know, just to have that extra, you know, edge or just to know stuff. But it turned out I met a lot of wonderful people in the spiritual group out
Right.
here, and I started just going into the years of development, working with different teachers and
Mhm.
um, who were all lovely. And then I started getting involved in spirit circles. That's when I really had like really developed was just being in connection with spirit, but also sitting in the power
Yeah.
was the main thing, sitting in meditation. And that I would say that's the main piece of the work we do. You have to sit in silence. You have to sit with spirit and
Mhm.
connect.
Yes.
So
So
let me take a moment here and just
yeah,
explain to people what spirit circles are and then what
Yeah.
sitting in the power is, because just
Sorry.
to follow your experiences, you took some classes, some courses, and then the spirit circles you sat in, um, that's usually a group of people, right, that meet weekly, hopefully, kind of a spiritual development circle might be another word for it.
Yes.
Yeah, develop and but a spirit circle, development circle where there's small groups of people, usually the same people every week, but different people can kind of come in, volunteer. But it's a part where you learn as a group, I guess, about how to really tune into your skills or develop them. So it's taking it a step farther, and it's something that now that you're a medium, you probably would recommend that for everyone who's learning, right? Wants to sharpen their skills or, wants to develop.
Correct. Yeah. It's
Really.
always good to sit among other
Yeah.
psychic mediums or people in development to connect. It's always good to have a community because we
Mhm.
tend to we're kind of,
Your
I've noticed
tribe.
that a lot of us are just, we're drifters or we're just our own entity. Like we don't really connect
Mhm.
we're always doing our own thing. I feel like psychic mediums are usually like hermited people. I hate to say it, but we're
Yeah.
usually working out of our homes or,
Yeah.
maybe going to a sitting, but most of the time it's good to connect with other people just in
For
general.
sure.
I mean, but with other psychic mediums, they can help you develop and
Mm.
strengthen your abilities. But
Mhm.
it's also just, working with each other and like getting messages and just channeling.
Mhm.
But that really helped tremendously. But also, I really developed a love to just sit. When I say sitting in the power,
Yeah.
this was something that was coined by now I can't remember his name. He was a
Tony
Glenn,
Stockwell. No?
Glenn,
No,
Glenn
Glenn. Yeah,
Edwards.
that's
I think it
right.
was
I've been
Glenn Edwards channeled it. I think
Yeah.
Glenn
who?
Glenn
I
Edwards
think you're
channeled
right,
it.
Cheryl, but I always think of Tony with it.
Do you?
Yeah,
Well, he's
he really
amazing. I mean,
pushes it on you.
Tony Stockwell, I mean, he
Yeah,
has amazing recordings of Sitting in the Power I still love to listen to today. Yeah.
yeah, and so did
Oh, okay.
Mavis.
Oh,
So did Mavis.
Mavis, of
And
course.
Mavis
Mavis
Patilla.
Patilla.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, she was amazing.
she
I'm
was.
just sorry I didn't get to meet her, but
Oh, I
uh,
love
I've
her.
read her books and she was such a
Mhm.
she was such a strong female medium psychic from the church back in England,
Yeah,
with the spiritual center with I'm
Yeah.
not spiritual, but they have a church of spirituality that was
yeah.
founded by I can't remember his name offhand now
Arthur
that I'm on
Finley.
Arthur Finley.
Yeah,
Oh,
True. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But there was
Sabrina,
no yeah.
let me ask you this. Did you find that when you started to develop, it was almost like when you met people, it was like you finally felt like you met your tribe or your people. It's like you felt like you could just be you.
mhm.
Yes, that was such a relief because I've met people. I can be free and I can say stuff that my normal friend, my normies, or just outside the group would be like, all right, yeah, like I was very careful about what I shared.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's another, I've always I didn't want to come off scary or weird to people. So I just kept these thoughts and feelings to myself. Like I would get information, but I'd never share it because I didn't want to upset anybody. That was
Right.
another thing. And that was my upbringing from my mom. It was like, be careful, don't say too much. Because she was
Mhm.
protecting me because this was not really, people weren't really like, oh, cool back in the day. So
Right.
you had to be careful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mhm. But now it's wonderful to connect like with Cheryl. I've met her through
Yeah.
our connection with
Yeah.
Allison and
Uh,
Luann. So I met all these lovely ladies that have helped me really develop and be comfortable coming out with
mhm.
Yeah.
stuff. So
It
yeah,
was, I remember the first time I took a development circle and coming home because I have never fit in my entire life. I mean,
okay,
I've always struggled making good friends, and I have about 5 friends that I've had pretty much since I was a small child or, like,
yeah,
very limited friend group, and, as an adult, it's hard to make friends as well.
yes,
And when I started developing, I just remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I've met my people. I feel
yeah,
I fit in, like, they understand me."
yeah. and nothing's too weird.
Yeah,
Whatever
I
you
mean,
do,
I
you're
was
like,
like, I
okay,
could
yeah.
just be myself. It was the best feeling. Yeah.
I know when Cheryl and I went out, remember we went to the Queen concert, and
Yeah.
it was like, I want to tell her everything, and I kind of did. I thought, oh, geez.
No, we had great talks in the Uber ride there. We had to
I
take an
know.
Uber ride, LA, it's a while to get there, but we had such great conversation, and I got to hear about you in your experience in LA. I mean, you're
Yeah.
you're an actor. You did stunts, right?
Yeah.
You're in the movies here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. I got out of that in 2018 because I just lost my passion
Oh.
for acting. And well, I've done voiceovers and things like that, but it's like, after a while, I'm not saying it was fulfilling up to a point. And then I found that my spirituality, what I'm doing now, is far greater than it just filled my cup more.
Right.
And I just wanted to really just, instead of like, in acting, if you're not in on a movie set or doing something, a commercial, you should be in class. So it was always like, you never quit taking class or voiceover, classes or whatever, coaching. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to spend my money on that. I want to keep developing. So I just sort of like,
so true.
I told my agent I wasn't feeling it anymore. And they're like, then we understand. And so I just sort of like moved on and just concentrated more on development. So, but I put a good 20 plus years into that, but it was fulfilling, and I got to do a few things. Yeah.
It probably helped you keep your creative energy open, in that way your intuition may have helped your intuition as well, because you stayed in the energy of being creative, of kind of putting yourself out there, letting spirit, so to speak, connect with you. I do think actors are very intuitive. Some of them are very intuitive, and right.
I often wonder sometimes when they're playing a role that is somebody that actually was, that had passed or something, when they do like not documentaries, but I'm not thinking of the right word, but I often think sometimes the actors and actresses are maybe even channeling that spirit because they want their story told.
Right.
Yes. No, that's a great observation, because it's true. You really do have to really be open to bringing in that the other person through your thinking, feeling, and exuding your character. Yeah. So it is a lot like that. It's true. You have to have a sixth sense with acting too. You just have to be. You kind of have to be one step ahead, but you have to be present. It's like, it's interesting. There's a lot of moving parts with that.
I imagine so.
It was just, it's the grind of just auditioning and getting out there. And I just was like, you have to have the passion to like put the work into it. And I gave it my all. I really did. And,
I'm glad.
So on that, I just was like, I really want to just focus on my development, and I started getting clients, and privately. So
well, let's move there for a moment. Let's move there with privately. Like, how do you see your clients? Are you seeing them on Zoom mostly, or by phone, or how do you work with your clients? And do you work with them individually? Usually,
I do. I do just on Zoom. I do my Zoom readings. I do, and sometimes I'll have two clients at the, if they want to have if we have a sitter, but most of the time it's a one-on-one. And I can help in, my readings are interesting because I do a psychic read. Mediumship is always involved in everything I do because, that's so cool, Beth. Sabrina, help me. I'm just sorry, I saw that. Hi, Beth. She's such a sweetheart.
Thanks, Beth. Great. Thanks for chiming in, Beth, and being a part of tonight's show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, bless her heart. That's not easy. So I just, where was I going? Oh my God.
Well, it's okay.
I started reading stuff.
You said mediumship always is involved.
Yes.
Readings,
okay. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always well, that's where I get from my psychic information is
mhm.
through spirit. So,
Me
who's ever
too.
coming to connect, thank you. Whoever comes in to connect with the client is always giving me like, well, she's not feeling well because of this, or tell her, I felt her hold my hand even though she didn't think I could feel anything. So, of course, that's mediumship, but also just information for future stuff I get from spirit. So it's always, to me, it just kind of is all encompassing.
Truly.
So, and then energy healing is more about like a blockage, like if you're blocked in abundance, or
Mm.
you still can't get over your ex and you want to move on. I'm very good at that. I can help you with that.
There are a
If
lot
you're
that
willing,
happens
if
a
you're
lot.
willing to let that ex go, okay? That's if you're willing to let it go.
That's very
What
true. A
kind
lot
of
of people
healing?
are.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask her what kind of healing she does.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely work with angels. I've always worked with an angelic team since I was a little girl. I've always connected with my angels, and we are all assigned an angel, and sometimes a couple of them. And I also believe that our loved ones that have passed on, a mother or a father, they can come through like an angel,
Mhm.
like they're with their guiding light. But I do work with just the spiritual sense and the Christ consciousness too, because again, I can't say I'm still uh, I still love Jesus in my heart. So I'm just going to say that. So I'm very based in that. So I just sometimes I pray. I always ask like my client, they're really going through something pretty dark. It's like, can I do this for you? Because this is sort of who I am, and no one ever turns it down because
Mhm.
my prayers are just open, and you know I don't. I never offend anybody. I try not to. I'm very careful about people's sensitivities because I know everybody believes something different, and I
Right.
totally respect that. I get it, you know. So I'm just here as a conduit of love
Mhm.
and an understanding, and again, angels work through me. So
Mhm.
that, but also uh, as far as energy healing and picking up on what's going on, I can kind of step into somebody's energy and look and see where this transpired, or like where did your blockage come from. So
Mm.
sometimes it just comes when you're a child or something
Wow.
happened, that you had no control over,
Mhm.
and it's keeping you, stuck.
Mhm.
So, and I can attest to that. I've been there.
Mhm.
So the only reason I do is because I've been through it. So that's how I can help.
That's beautiful. Do
Thank
you
you.
do a lot of healing work?
I do. In fact, I work with a wonderful group of people that I've known for several years. And the second Saturday of every month, we all get together, and this is all done on Zoom.
Okay.
And we have a hypnotist, and we have like another psychic medium, and then the gal that runs it, her name is Tally Barr. She's fabulous. So she does energy healing. She's also an animal communicator.
Mhm.
And we have another gal that does Kundalini. And what's funny? I mean, I want to learn more about that, but I'm
Yeah.
not clear. She does this Kundalini stuff, so she does all this like this gesture.
Right.
I'm like, that's so cool. But
Yeah.
it's a whole nother can of worms. But it does help. You know what I mean? Like everything helps. And so
Yeah.
when all five of us get together, we're kind of a
Oh
dynamic
my God.
team. And then we have people come in, and it's just like comfortable. We just, as long as we can see you on the monitor, like you have
Mhm.
your camera on, then you just lie down on a mat and just relax. And then for an hour, Tally plays some really peaceful music, and we all use our techniques. And it's pretty silent. We just sort of like go through, and we work on people individually and as a
Nice.
whole. So we create a container for everybody. That's what we call it. So the safe space. And we've had people with cancer, or emotional problems, anything. If you everybody's going through something, come on in. We'll help you, straighten it out, or at least alleviate some of the pressure, and you
Right.
come out feeling very light and optimistic. And there's a lot of pluses to it, of
I
course.
love
And
that.
I love working with people, like in a group setting. It's always fun for me.
So
So
all of your business is done on Zoom? You don't do anything in person ever?
good question. I will meet people in person. It's not often. But if you're in LA
Mhm.
and you want to see me in person, we can meet up. Yeah, and I usually have it in, you can come over to my place and
Yeah,
in my living room.
nice.
So it's not like I haven't done it, but sometimes I have more clients like in other parts of the country, so
Yeah,
all over the world. So it's just easier that way. But I get it if you really think, oh no, I got to see you in person, because a lot of people feel that way, and I get
they
it. It's like
do.
in
Mhm.
person.
Yeah, they do.
Client that I've seen him for years. He's a wonderful chiropractor and lives in Beverly Hills. And he tells people that he refers to. He's like, you got to see her in person. So I'm like, all
That's
right,
cute. That's
we,
sweet.
but
Yeah.
it's funny.
Originally, I started everything was in person,
Did you? Yeah.
and then during COVID, it all went online, and it was amazing, and I just loved it. And the funny
Me
thing
too.
is, I feel like you said you started kind of going public during COVID, like in
Yeah, well, I
2020.
have to. Yeah, that's true. But b- before that, I did see people in person.
Oh,
So
Okay.
it was just, yeah, I did, because I was doing angel healing, where
mhm.
you lay somebody down on a massage table, and then I'm also an ordained minister because I lay hands on people.
Okay.
So and I can marry you if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, before COVID hit, I would have people come over to my place, and
Mhm.
I made sure I had, like,
Mhm.
you have to, if you're going to lay hands on people, like I would just lay my hand here or on their head, nothing too
Yeah.
crazy. But
Right.
if you touch somebody, you have to be ordained.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have to do that. So it's a California law.
Mm.
So,
Right. Right.
mhm. So, and it was very rewarding. It's been a while since I've done that. Yeah, COVID changed the game.
It
It
did.
did.
And
It
so
did.
that was like, all right, I guess we're doing this online. And at first, when
Right.
we were doing it, we started doing spirit circles online. And I'm like, how's this going to happen? But it still works
Interesting.
It
Yeah.
did.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't think I could do it other than in person.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
I was so afraid it wouldn't work over the internet. Like I just thought, oh my gosh, I need to be in front of the person, and it works. It works. Just I feel like now personally, I prefer the online readings versus the in person.
Mhm.
I have to agree. And
Yeah,
what's cool is that you can record them, so I record the
Mhm.
readings for my clients, and then, let it download, and then I send it out that afternoon or evening or whatever.
Mhm.
yeah,
So it's very beneficial. And what's cool is that sometimes when I'm in doing a reading, I'll see little orbs, or I'll see
Mm.
orbs on my
yeah.
clients,
True.
or they'll see it around
Oh.
me. So it's really like there's nothing that will stop the power of spirit to get a message across.
Mhm.
In
It's
fact,
amazing.
I think they really enjoy this
Yeah.
medium, if you
This
will.
format. I know I
Yeah.
can even see loved ones on the screen, right? So
Hmm.
even though we're all in these little squares, it's still very possible because your departed loved ones, they're right there. And,
Right.
Yes, they
you
are.
can see them and sense them, as you mentioned, the orbs. So it's even a more focused, I have to say, in some way, or it's more or less distracting, I guess, because all of my attention is just right here with you, I have to say. And
Yes.
that seems to be just my comfort level. I guess maybe we've all gotten used to it, right? Being
Yeah.
on Zoom and phone
Yeah.
calls.
Recently started seeing people in person again, but
Oh, you
it's been a
did?
real
Oh,
struggle
I would
because
love to do
I
that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's been a real struggle because I'm in the middle of moving, and then, I keep
Oh,
getting sick, and part of me is sort of hesitant to continue because I just keep getting sick. I just don't wanna spread germs or get germs anymore. But
Totally
truly with the
I
winter.
do know that there's a
Yeah.
huge in my area, people really want in person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, I have clients all over the world, but my
Yeah.
local clients, they've seen me in person and they want me in person. And so
Yeah.
I try to accommodate everybody, but it's
Well,
hard sometimes.
Well, speaking of in person, just to shout out for Kelly and me, I mean, we're going to be at the expo coming up in February, just for everyone. We're going to be at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles.
Next
Oh,
month.
Lord.
February 9th through 12th. So
Yeah.
just to
Ooh.
share with you, Sabrina, if you're ever in the area, I mean, that's a great expo happening February 9th through the 12th, or it's a great reason to come by and say hello to us. I think we're in booth P24, but
It's good
Oh, my
memory, Cheryl.
thank you. Yeah. So, we're under the Seeing Beyond Radio banner,
Yes.
under our radio show banner. So look for us, or you might see us walking around saying hello to other people, but we'd
Yeah.
love for you to stop by our booth at the LAX Hilton Hotel is where they're holding it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hold it. I was there last year as well.
Oh,
I love that, and that's gotten bigger and bigger
I
since
it
know.
it's
is
been going.
quite.
It was crazy last year. I could barely find a parking spot. I had to
Oh gosh.
drive up. But
Yeah.
that's great, you guys. No, I'm coming. I'll
Yeah,
definitely
we're
check you out.
excited.
That'll
We're
be great.
excited.
Come visit us.
Oh, that's major going there. There's like
Yeah.
everybody from all over the world goes there. It's
does.
like the place. So, right on.
Yeah.
Love
Well, we
that.
have a lot of questions in the comments here.
Oh,
And
good.
here's one that's specifically for Sabrina.
Okay.
Okay.
And it just says, well, I'll let you read it, Cheryl. I don't want to
Well, this is like a reading question for you, Sabrina.
Yeah.
You wanted to
Yeah.
from
Marie
Marie.
back.
She says, greetings, ladies. Question for Sabrina. Does she pick up any blocks in career or in general around Marie? And thank you and Happy New Year.
Okay, Marie.
Marie Beck.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was a question. I just saw Sabrina's name.
So I'm just stepping into
No,
Marie's energy. Any blocks in career, I get a no right off the bat. Now, in general, yes. And are you blocked in love, Marie? Because that's the first thing I'm getting is just like, career is not a problem for you. It's just the love part. And I get the word complicated. Sometimes maybe you're in a complicated relationship. That's sort of it happens, but you don't know where, he's at mentally, or you've been seeing somebody for a while, but you don't know how, if it's going to go anywhere. Sometimes, welcome to LA, it's dating here. It's like, but no, I don't get any career blocks. But when you say in general, the first thing I did was get love, that maybe you're blocked in love.
All right, Marie, we hope that's helpful for you. If you want to reply in the comment section.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. But I just want to give a shout out to Sabrina, because for everyone meeting her for the first time, check out her website. I believe it's psychicmediumsabrina.com.
Sabrina, psychicmedium.com. It's all one word.
Sabrina, psychicmedium.com.
Yeah.
And I know that you work with angels a lot in your healing work, probably. Do you work with them in your healing and in your readings? I guess that would be a good question for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I always connect with my team in spirit, but I always ask for, of course, angelic information or angelic protection and healing for both of us, for the client and for myself. And but I always get definitely a great download. Or lately in my readings, I've been able to connect clients with their higher self, with that angelic being. So we've been working on that. I had a client last week, work with me, and she felt that her angel was her father. And that's why I say yes, because a lot of our loved ones in spirit can be our angels too.
And we had this talk last week, Cheryl.
We did.
We
did.
I also believe that our angels can be, our guides and angels can be very similar, and they can be family. And
Yes.
One of my angels, or what I called my angels since I was born was my great grandmother.
Mm.
Yeah. So I had never met her, but when I saw her picture when I was 3, I was like, oh, there's my angel.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our great grandmothers have, I never met my great grandmother, but sometimes I get her in instances. But,
Yeah.
you know, for some reason I'm getting, that's probably where you got a lot of your giftings from.
I
Cheryl.
believe so. She's very,
Really.
I remember meeting her in spirit. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. My mom
Yeah.
had it. So it runs on that family, that side of the family.
Yes. Isn't that lovely? I got that too from my grandmother and then my mom, and I knew my mother had it, but again, she, you know, it's sad when it's not developed, or they're just like, well, that's not God's will, or, you know, she always had the sixth sense, but it was always like she didn't go with it. And that's sad. And I just encourage people, I think we all have a sixth sense. We all have those abilities. It's just some more developed than others. And it just takes time. But mainly like just sitting in meditation. Oh, thank you, Marie.
Marie, thank you, Sabrina. Blessings to all.
Yeah.
How beautiful.
Denise just wants to give a shout out to her daughter, and I just want to help support her. 180 days clean. I think that's beautiful. Congratulations to your daughter. That's quite an accomplishment. She should
really
be proud.
is.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
I love the name Heather. That's my middle sister's name. I'm so close to her. So
I like that name, Heather. It always makes me think of Feather. Heather Feather.
Yeah, my sister's nickname was Feather, but you know, it's a hardy flower. So saying that name Heather, you know, I know your Heather is going to be all right. She's strong. Yeah. For that young lady with her daughter. So
that's beautiful.
So cool. Lovely people.
We have a lot of amazing and loving followers, don't we, Cheryl?
We do. We have such supportive and supporting one another and really asking such great questions. We love answering your questions, guys. So please, you can write them in the comments section if you want, right here on our live. Or if you want to, you can always send them to our website if you want to ask them even later in the week to questions@seeingbeyondradio.com. That's questions@seeingbeyondradio.com.
And we have an email question tonight from Marie Lyons.
Okay.
And she said, I would ask how to differentiate what answers I'm told or see with just wishful thinking of mine. So she wants to know how she tells if it's, you know, she's getting this from spirit or her intuition, or if it's just her wishful thinking. And that's a great question because our head can really get in the way, can't it?
Yeah, it's our ego, it's not our amigo.
Right.
That's what I say. So I don't think it's wishful thinking. I just think it is. We tend to dismiss things so like, oh no, that's not true, or why did I think of that person? Oh, but it is spirit speaking to you.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just spirit doesn't just talk to us because we're doing this work. They talk to all of us. So they talk to you, the listener, or, you know, don't discount it, you know, don't just say, oh, that was dumb. Why was I thinking that? Don't ever say that. It's because you're getting information.
Exactly.
So it's not wishful thinking. So whatever it was, you know.
I think that we grew up in a society, you know, that just told us that, like, not to believe what sometimes our own, like, knowingness or thoughts. Like, we've been brought up to not trust our own intuition.
Correct.
You know, and it's a hard thing to break.
It is, because it's a program.
Exactly, for a lot of people. And, you know, I think it's real important if you are a parent or if you work with children to really encourage them to trust that intuition.
Yes, great point to make, because you know, when I was a girl, my mother didn't know what to do. She just said, like, keep it to yourself. But nowadays it's okay. Like, and the kids now, the little kids that are coming through, they know stuff. It's like, boy, this kid, I mean, when
they're being dropped down like crazy now, right?
Yeah. 5 hours in Play-Doh, these kids are just they're you know, playing on the computer and, like, you know, selling stuff, have their own website. I don't know, but Kids
I
are.
like this question.
Oh.
Do you ladies ever channel ETs?
That's a great question. I really, I go to Joshua Tree a lot. I love Joshua Tree,
There.
and that is huge. That's a
Mhm.
huge extraterrestrial area. There is
Mhm.
so much going on there.
Sedona too. Sedona
Um,
too.
Sedona too, yeah. And I have channeled an ET. But I remember I meditated near Skull Rock in Joshua Tree. It's really
Ooh,
fascinating. It looks like an actual skull. And
yeah.
I thought, maybe I'll just sit in my car. I lock the doors because I went there by myself during the day. But,
Yeah.
I just sat and closed my eyes and immediately, boom, got a gray.
Mhm.
It was a
Mhm.
little off-putting, but it was like, I could feel him in my back seat. It was immediate, like because you were just, I just kind of, it's almost like I'll just close my eyes and see what happens, and it's like activity right away. So,
Right.
um, I haven't done it lately, but yeah, but it's like it just depends. I mean, that was a hotbed.
Yeah. I
You
would
guys
say
are
I would say yes too, that I've channeled ETs. I mean, I have to agree with you, Sabrina. I think, I set the intention or maybe it's the questions I'm asking, but the energy does feel different. It does feel different. And I would encourage people to practice automatic writing or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
freestyle writing, right,
Oh
Kelly
yeah.
and
I love
Sabrina?
just seeing what comes out of my
Mhm.
thoughts sometimes. It's quite
Yes.
interesting. A lot of times it's very inspirational, but also things will come that I didn't know that I needed to hear from myself.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, it's touching.
Very
Before
nice.
we forget, and it gets to the end of the show, I just wanted
Yeah.
to make a little announcement about my nephew. My nephew Leo. Tomorrow is his 11th birthday, January
Hey.
11th, 111,
Oh,
Hey.
and
cool.
he's super excited because it's a new moon and he thinks
Yes.
it's the coolest golden birthday ever from the universe. So happy birthday from everybody, Leo, tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday, Leo. What a cool name,
He
too.
watches the show.
Oh,
Oh,
happy birthday.
gosh. Happy birthday, 11/11.
Yeah, it runs in my family. I'm pretty sure Leo has it too, the gift.
Yeah.
Well, so happy birthday to him. And Kelly, I mean, do you want to mention your announcements right now? Do you have any
Yeah,
upcoming
yeah. I mean, we're
just
gonna
take a
be at the
moment?
Conscious Life Expo. I'm getting ready. I've been sick for the last week. I've been
Mm.
really, really sick. But my goal was to try to get up a bunch of new online events this past week, but I'm a little behind. But I will be announcing some online events next week, I promise. I'm going to be gone most of February, so I'll be announcing March's events. They're coming up soon. And I'll be opening my crystal store in March. And
Oh,
for anybody, I know it's last minute now because we're getting close. We're going to Egypt on the 17th to the 29th. There is still room. We've had a couple last minute cancellations due to illness and other things. So we still have some space for a
mm,
few people. If you are interested,
mhm.
go to my website and check it out. It's going to be an amazing trip. We have such an amazing group. So check it out. Those are my announcements. What about you, Cheryl? I know you have a lot
I
going
do.
on.
Well, I'll just give a couple of events. Thanks, Kelly. But just to share with everyone, I mean, I love that you mentioned tomorrow's the 11th and it's the new moon, because also I have my Psychic Night online event tomorrow night, everyone. And I have just about 2 tickets left. So if you'd like to join me, you can still buy those tickets through my website, or thanks, Brianna, for putting that link up there. But Psychic Night, where we work on psychic abilities. We work on answering your questions around, your own career path and your health or your love relationships. That type of questioning is called a psychic, where we tune into your soul to soul connection. So that's tomorrow night. Really check it out on my website or on this link. It's just about 2 tickets left, I think, one or two. And then just secondly, I have a beautiful small group reading event also coming up. It's a mediumship, so it's connecting with your departed loved ones. That's coming up January 23rd. That's my Circle of Love event. And I'd love to see you guys there. Once again, it's a small group event. So there's just a few of us online where everyone gets a reading. Just like tomorrow night, everyone will get a reading as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
do
I'm
psychic
excited.
night is a small group, like your small circle of love. Then,
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
and you
Yeah,
like doing that.
I do.
I
I have a few. Mhm. I have a few more people on the psychic night. It's a little bit bigger of a circle, but it's still everyone gets a reading. So that's what's neat about it is, when you buy a ticket, you're like, you're going to get a reading from me. So thanks, Kelly.
I love that. That's a great idea. I tried a psychic night one time, but everybody wanted mediumship, and I'm like, but I said psychic night. So now I do my small group reading, and I say, you can have a psychic question or a mediumship. You let me know. So I was great. Like, but I had sold all these tickets, and everybody was going to get a reading, and it was supposed to be a psychic readings, and they were all like wanted to hear from loved ones.
Spirit has a way of getting through, right?
Right.
Spirit
Get through. Yeah. So I was wondering how yours go. That's awesome. Because I know Thomas does those too, and his I think are pretty successful.
Yeah, his seem to be really big as well.
That's great.
But thank you. Those are my events. And then just to share with people, Kelly and I are on every Wednesday night here on our podcast, our radio show, Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. We're so lucky to have Sabrina von Stock on with us this evening. So for those of you just tuning in, or if you tuned in late this evening, we have a beautiful psychic medium and energy healer, Sabrina von Stock, and she's incredible. Please check out her website. If you can put her link up again on the screen here. But check out Sabrina. She does amazing energy healing. She does also psychic readings and connecting you with your departed loved ones. So SabrinaPsychicMedium.com.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sabrina, I just wanted to tell you how lucky we are. And I believe that you're just such an incredible medium with integrity. I think that's why, I know people feel it across the screen, across Zoom, right, Kelly? There's just something about you that, presents a very quiet, respectful reverence towards what you're doing. And, that comes across. It's very relatable. And I believe that's what people are looking for. They're looking for making that connection with someone who will help them feel safe, and that's, you mentioned that word earlier. I'm like, that's what it is. You help people feel safe in connecting with them on those higher levels and bringing through their departed loved ones.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. That's a lovely compliment. And I do strive for that. I really, because I care and I understand what it's like to lose somebody you love so deeply. Right. I know that all too well. So, if there's ever if somebody comes across me and wants a reading, it's always a safe space, and there's nothing, you can ask any questions, and it's not, but thank you. Yes, that's how I would like to be known as,
Of course.
Right. You have a very comforting voice like Cheryl. Very calming.
Yeah. That's so cool. Thank you.
That's very nice.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah.
I know Cheryl does the most beautiful meditations, and I heard that you do as well.
Well, not as good as Cheryl.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I heard yours are really good, according to Cheryl.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come listen to one of your meditations one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did a beautiful meditation where you helped us connect to our angels or our spirit guides. I think we were doing spirit guides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you just say a word or two about spirit guides tonight? Like that we all have a guide, or
absolutely.
Do you help people connect with that also? Can they ask you those types of questions?
Yes, of course. Because I want to empower people. We all have abilities to connect, and all you have to do is ask. Especially, let's say, okay, for example, I was kind of sad today. I missed my mom. My mom has been gone for 11 years, but and I think people can relate. It's almost, sometimes you think about them like it was yesterday when they passed. So it's like, I just quiet my mind and body and just say, I just want to connect in. I would love to see a sign. And I don't normally do that, but sometimes we really need encouragement. But with guides, everybody has one, and it's most likely a loved one that has passed over. And sometimes it's people you don't know, like a grandmother that passed away before you were born. So, so it's always something lovely like that to help a client like really find that connection, that someone spiritual to lean on in the spirit realm. So I'm always,
I
inviting them in.
And I want to say, I do believe, because we're all talking about spirit guides, and Kelly, I want to get your input here, and Sabrina, about animals. Like my pet tiger, dog. I just feel a soulmate connection, and I feel like he's a guide for me. So do you guys agree that animals
Yes.
could be?
I totally do. And
Yeah.
and I feel like Daisy, who's still here with me, is like one of my soul connections for sure.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that her and I can talk to each other. And Jet, my dog that passed, I just feel like he's always with us and he's always guiding me because I'm such an animal lover and I'm such a sucker. I just keep getting more animals, 4 cats and 3 dogs. I feel like he brings me all the animals,
Yeah,
like
I love
that.
it. I love it.
Yeah,
And
they're a higher being animals. They truly are. So they understand. And I get them sometimes in readings if they pop in. It's always lovely. I mean, I'm working on I love animal communication. Especially, I was working with horses last summer, and they are amazing. You can just come near them, and they're full of information.
I love
oh
horses.
my God, I just got chills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
I don't even, I all of a sudden about in 2020, all of a sudden started just getting all these people who wanted me to read for their horses. And
Yeah.
I did, I think, like 10 different readings for horse lovers, like people who owned horses. And
Yes.
I kept saying, like, how did you find me? Like, do you guys all know each other? But they didn't, because it was like a pattern for
Yeah.
like a whole year. It was insane. But the stuff that came through, it was like the horses, because they were living, right? It was like they were
Yes.
just talking to me. And it was like their owner is holding like an iPad, in front of them. Like it wasn't even in person. But even in person, I feel like I could just hear their soul.
Yeah,
They're such amazing
amazing.
creatures. I love them.
before the iPad was out, I had a client send me photographs, about from her horses, and her horses' legs were kind of wrapped up because they were sore or they kept injuring them. So we kind of did not only an energy healing on them, but I was helping her understand the personality of the horse and what they were, like you mentioned, what they're thinking, what could help them, why they were re-injuring their leg, not knowing that they were, but that's what was turning up. And these were horses that she was showing. These are, these race horses or horses that you're showing, even people's horses that they just ride for pleasure. I mean, these are our pets, our friends, our animals. All animals are. So especially for us being empaths and many people on the call with us tonight, I mean, animals, just have such a high regard in our thoughts and our hearts. So we always want to, love them, even after, so to speak.
Yes. They bring such comfort and joy, and they're selfless and lovely. Horses especially are, I find them very extraterrestrial. I was shocked by the information they can just freely give just by touching or just connecting with them. They're wonderful.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Oh my gosh. Should we take a pause or, oh my God. Well, let me see. People are typing in. And so if you could just say, let's see.
I know Bianca's been asking a lot of questions and people are asking us to answer for her. And how can she be sure that her brother is a guide? And what else did she say? She's asked a couple questions. She just wants to know that she's not crazy and it's actually him giving her signs. The fact that you think it's him means it is him. That's my opinion. I do feel like your brother and you had a very interesting relationship where you guys could almost read each other's mind when he was alive. So he's definitely still connected to you in that way and communicating with you in that way, Bianca. So know that. And if you feel it and you're thinking it, then that's who it is. The first thought that comes to your mind is who it is. That's my opinion. What about you, Cheryl?
I just feel him being your guide for sure, Bianca, because you do have such a love for him and a love for one another. And I keep seeing hearts as a sign from him. So hearts, like hearts, all different kinds of hearts coming through. And I feel like you get that through a sign. And I even feel like you're absolutely not crazy. I would say you're more intuitive than anything. And I would really encourage you maybe to take a class, take a development class, whether it's
Yeah.
online or in person even, and really, explore that, explore your own ability to connect with your brother. But
Yes.
I love it that you're with us. I mean, we were happy to help you, but our
Yeah.
job is to help you understand the beautiful experience that this can be for you. Because now that you affirm that this is your brother, or we're helping you confirm that, you can have an amazing lifelong journey with him, showing you things from the other side, so to speak, or in the dream state.
And I just want to share, when you have a loved one in spirit, and you feel like, oh, I'm not getting signs, or I don't feel them, or I don't, these things are going on. Why don't you take a moment and sit in a chair in a quiet area of your house and just close your eyes and just talk to them and ask for them to give you a sign. And if you do feel, it might just be the slightest little breeze or touch. If you do feel it, then you think, am I going crazy? Ask them to touch you on the other side. Ask them to tap your hand and see if you feel that. And if it, and you give them your right hand and then you feel that, maybe ask them to go to your left hand. That's how you know you're not crazy. They're going to do this for you. And if you're open to it, you might feel it. If you're, overthinking it, that can get in the way. But, practice makes perfect. Sit quietly, or go to the beach if you live by the beach, and sit by the ocean and talk to your loved ones and ask for signs. Don't give expectations, but look for the signs. Tell them to give you something that you would know, and when you see that, believe it. Don't not trust it. A lot of times we discount these signs. We doubt them, and we're missing them. So be open to it. Don't overthink it.
And I think also they like to surprise us. They like to see us smile. So you can say, I'd love to hear from you, brother. If I can see you tonight in my dreams, I would love that. And just say that. And then then we tend to forget. Sometimes we move on to the other thing, or, me, I look at TikTok, but, it's just sort of like those, social media, or your child's talking to you, or the phone rings and you forget that you said that. But then all of a sudden you'll just be delighted by something really beautiful. Like maybe you go out for a walk and then you see his name somewhere, or, it just.
My son gives me numbers. I get the number 420 all the time because he was a big stoner in life. And it's sort of his sense of humor to egg me on, because he knows I didn't like that, and so he was like, of course, that was the first sign he gave me. So, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ah.
You have a sense of humor.
So simple. If you have a problem with us doing an interview, you should probably go watch another show. I'm sorry that we don't make you happy, but you don't need to sit on here and complain. We don't answer complainers. Goodbye. I'm gonna block them.
I do feel that, this person asking the question, sometimes we don't know what the signs are, right? We don't know what they are. But as we've just mentioned, we've given 3 signs. We've given hearts. We've given Kelley, what was your sign? Or Sabrina? Kelley was numbers. She sees a series of numbers as signs. Sabrina said you can see the name, or maybe you hear the name. That can be a confirmation, because those things we kind of doubt. We kind of say, oh, that's a coincidence. But what the 3 of us are saying as mediums is, no, really, it's very true that is their way of connecting with you.
Yeah. And Bianca says, thank you all so much. I hope we helped you, Bianca. And I know we didn't get to everybody's questions. It's kind of hard to answer everybody's questions when we have a guest. So we do our best. And we go to the questions we feel drawn to. We don't go in order, just so everybody knows. But we do appreciate everybody. And if we don't get to you tonight, there was always next week. We do this every week. So just keep coming back. And there were some weeks we dedicate to just answering psychic questions and mediumship questions, or doing
Right.
mediumship. So every week is a little bit different, right,
Yeah.
Cheryl?
Yeah, every week's different. And we want to just thank all of our listeners for being with us this evening. We want to take our time, take this moment to thank our special guest, Sabrina von Stock. And look, if you're looking to get a reading, or energy healing, please check out her website. And also, always stay tuned. We'll have her back on another show, I'm sure, sometime soon. And this replay will be available too. So if you need to watch the replay to learn more about Sabrina, if there was a part that you missed, please watch the replay on our website at seeingbeyondradio.com or on both of our YouTube and Facebook channels. But I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. And thank you, Sabrina. We've enjoyed having you so much.
It was so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. And we just want to
Thank
wish
you so
everyone,
much. Yeah.
Kelly, we want to wish you a happy week, Kelly. Feel better.
I'm
Yeah.
on the mend. I will be better by this
Onward.
weekend. I know it.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank
It's
you for being on the show, Sabrina. We really enjoyed meeting you.
Thank
Or I enjoyed meeting you for the first time.
I enjoyed meeting you too.
Yay.
Yeah. I've seen your, face on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to talk to both of you. It's been really lovely.
Really, it's a
Thank
joy
you.
always. And
Thank
for
you.
everyone, have a beautiful week. Namaste. We will see you next week at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, back here with Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. Have a great evening. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everybody.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.